Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. It's,
Hello. It's been a long time.
it has. It's been 2 weeks, and we do want to apologize. A lot has been going on in our lives. We don't want to disclose that information, but we just want to apologize. Oh, wait.
You? I was like, I'm fine to disclose
Okay.
it.
Well, what happened on your end that made you
Uh,
delay the podcast?
oh yes, a very big delay. The original date for this podcast, my husband decided to chop some wood while, a little inebriated and cut his hand and had to have, I think, 15 stitches and now is
Mhm.
wearing a cast. So life has been very chaotic since then.
And he has to do therapy as well, right?
Yes, yes.
Physical therapy.
So
Oh.
it's going to be like a year long process of trying to regrow nerves and get the normal strength back. And it's going to be a lot of physical therapy.
We wish him luck on his recovery. I saw it. He messaged me and sent me photos, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And then as they started telling me the story, I was like, "Something don't make sense. How you cut your hand chopping wood?" They hadn't told me about the inebriation at all, so I was just
Yeah.
like, "How did that happen?" And then it slowly came out, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Who
Hmm.
chops wood while they're slightly inebriated?" But it's fine.
It
It's okay.
you
It
live and
happens.
you learn,
Yes,
right?
you live and you learn. But I think,
No
didn't you
more
say
play
it's
with
very common for
knives.
people in his family to lose fingers?
Oh yes, multiple members of his family have lost some fingers slash had really big cuts on their hands and other body
Ooh.
parts. So they're people known for injury. They do a lot of outdoor stuff.
Okay, and I can contribute and say I'm part of the problem too, because while my significant other nor I cut any parts of our body, I have been traveling a lot of family events going on, and I'm on the road every weekend. I made a New Year's resolution that I would spend more time seeing my family this year, and I'm regretting that. I already told,
I was gonna say, I was like, are you
yeah.
regretting it yet?
Oh, I'm regretting it. I'm already planning saying next year you get to see me once.
We're seeing less of you.
Yes, a lot less
I
of
had
me
enough.
because I love my family, but driving 3 hours and 2 hours
Oof,
is every
that's a lot.
weekend, and then you work during the week, so you feel like you just trying to recover all the time. I'm over it.
Hmm.
So speaking of family, that just let us segue back into family values part two. We said we would come back and talk more about it, and this time we're gonna I won't say getting controversial. We're just speaking from our perspectives and our life and what we've experienced. So, this is not meant towards attacking anyone. It's just our perspective on what we experience and what we feel and how we live our lives. So, as we open up and start talking about family values, we want you to just take some of this information and think about your family values, what you want to incorporate into your family values. This is not strictly about Christianity, but that just happens to be what we were raised, majority of America, but mostly my experience has been raised in a
Hmm.
Christian household. So we'll just start with the first question and topic is basically, did religion play a part in your family and upbringing as you grew up? So I'm gonna let Amaya start because she is the one that has a lot to say.
I think this is going to be a topic where we both have a lot to say. So
This is
I'll just
true.
jump right in. I will say for me, religion did definitely play a part. And, I've talked about this. And I think that my parents used religion, they leaned on religion as a crutch to instill fear in us. Um, because I remember distinctly, I had so much anxiety about, oh my God, if I do one bad thing, I'll go to hell. Because that's what I was told at church. And then at home, when we're talking about God, I didn't, he was just like some big thing in the sky that was always looking down at me. He could always see if I was doing something wrong. So I just had so much fear. And I remember like hearing my first cuss word. This boy cussed at my sister and she came home and said the word. And then my dad was like, that's a bad word. You're not supposed to say that. And then,
Mm.
I got in trouble for that. And I was like, oh God, I said that word. I'm going to go to hell. And so I think that a lot of parents use religion to kind of instill morals in their children, like to teach them good and bad and all of those things, and to love thy neighbor. So there's a lot that they pull from. But I think it could also harm the children too.
Mm.
I don't know if you've had that in your upbringing. Like, did you feel like your parents used Christianity to kind of keep you in check?
Now, my parents were very similar to your parents. They were, but I think a lot of times with, well, for my parents, again, speaking from my perspective, I think my parents just basically copied and pasted what their parents did to them, right? They might have altered it a little bit because my parents are, I like to think my parents are Christian, but they're more loving than
Hmm.
strict and like brutal. That Christian, that, well, the Southern Christian way they teach you church was
Yeah.
you're going to hell. That's kind of how it was introduced to me in church, not from my parents, but just from going to church. It was like, you're going to hell. You need to do this. You need to obey your parents. Like you said, it was a lot of twisting the words of the Bible to get you to be
Yeah.
afraid and to get you
And
to be,
obedient.
yeah, obedient, to get you fearful and be
Hmm.
obedient to what they needed at the time. And I'm not trying to say that that's wrong because parents do it to this day. You lie about Santa Claus, you lie about, the Easter Bunny and all these other things, and then kids grow up and they realize you're lying, but it's okay because it's just what people do.
Yeah.
Um, but in relation to Christianity, yeah, it was pushed on me. It was a lot of fear growing up. And I don't want to say it was from my parents. It was mostly from the churches we went to. My parents
Hmm.
never once set us down and made us read the Bible at home. We would have prayer, we would go to choir
Yeah.
practice, but usually it was in the church where we went to, and we would sit down and you would just
Hmm.
hear pastors preaching about homosexuality, preaching about
Hmm.
adultery and not obeying the Bible and not obeying your parents and a
Exactly.
lot of
And
things that I
I,
felt as a kid I wasn't old enough to understand adultery or what
hmm
homosexuality was or even like sleeping outside of marriage. I'm like, I'm a kid. What am I supposed to know about this? You know?
exactly. And I think it's so funny that they use in the same way they tell us not to do bad things and your parents tell you to be obedient and what is it called? Like where the wife has to be obedient to the husband, but then the husband is obedient to God. Like that's just so
Yeah.
crazy and weird to me. But I think it's so interesting that we use religion to instill fear, to teach you to do right and what's right and wrong. But then at the same time, people have used religion to do so many wrong things like slavery and
Mm-hmm.
condemning homosexuality, abortion, sexism. All of these things are such big parts of the Bible. Why are those bad things okay and seen as like, yeah, that's right? But
Mm-hmm.
then at the same time, we're taught to love every single person, no matter how they are, and God loves you and cares for you and all that stuff. So it's just kind of a confusing thing. And I just know I would be sitting there like, what am I supposed to do? Like
Well,
it's
even if
very
we talk
confusing.
right now, people will listen to our podcast, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Christians, if they listen to it or
Yeah.
not, but they'll listen to it and they'll be like, "Well, you didn't read the Bible right, and that wasn't what God meant, and you don't understand the
And that is
interpretation."
true.
I'm going to ask you a question though about that because I heard that a lot. As an adult, I went back and I've read the Bible of sound and right mind because, as far as I know, I'm not insane, and I still to this day read the Bible and I'm thinking like, this don't make no sense. Like some of the stuff that happens in the Bible just makes me like, there's no way I would bring my kid up with this. I'll teach him about Jesus. I'll teach him about the teachings of Jesus. But the Old Testament, oh no, that's null and void. That's deleted. That don't exist
Mm.
in my. And people can get mad at me, but it's just how I feel. I feel like the Old Testament is too raw. And if we want to say from a Christian perspective and view, the Old Testament to me is an old God. It's what God
Yeah.
was before God became more
He
loving and
changed. Yeah.
caring. And that goes to show you that people always like God is omnipotent and all powerful and he doesn't change. And I remember being young and talking to my mom and asking her and being like, well, you hear pastors always saying God knows all, God does everything, God knows where you're going, but we all have free will. And I was like, well, that contradicts itself. Well, you still have free will and God know where you're going to go in the end of like your end of your destination. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll accept that. But I also want to know the question of just like, if that's the case, then like why in the Bible does God change? Because if
Yeah.
God knows all and God is everything, then
He
God
should be
should
the
be
same all the
static.
time.
Yeah, he should be
Mm-hmm.
static throughout and he or she, whatever, should be static throughout the entirety of the Bible. But you see several stories where God does things that seem a little questionable to me.
Mm-hmm.
Example one,
Well,
go ahead.
oh no, use your
Well,
example.
I'm just gonna use this example, and we're gonna go back to the
Mm-hmm.
family values thing. But my example one was like when the when the devil came to God and asked to tempt one of his disciples, and
Mm-hmm.
God was like, "Sure, go ahead. Wait, first of all, you're gonna let this thing that you kicked out of heaven, and for some reason you sent
So
into
it's an
earth,
angel.
yeah, an angel. You let this angel come to you, ruin my life to prove a point, but you're God. There's no point that needs to be proven to a
Mm-hmm.
being that you kicked out of heaven because he tried to revolt against you. And I
Yeah.
get it. People will always use the line, well, it's above your head. You don't have the wisdom, and it's God knows all, so you wouldn't be able to fathom. And I was like, what I do fathom is if I'm dating someone, or you got your husband and I got my husband, and then our husbands come up to us and be like, oh, I want you to go try to get tempted and find the sexiest man you want and like tempt, or let me go out and
Uh-huh.
try to have sex with someone, or like
Mm-hmm.
flirt with people. Don't worry, you have faith in me, I won't cheat. And I'm just kind of like, you shouldn't want to put your significant other or someone that
Through that.
follows you
Yeah.
in that position.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
But as a child, I just had a lot of questions about the
Mm-hmm.
Bible and about my upbringing and what they were trying to teach me. And when no one could answer the questions, the answer then became, "Well, it's above you. God knows all. You should just accept it. Don't question the word."
Yeah.
But
Yep.
go
That's a
ahead.
big thing too in church. Like, definitely, you cannot question it. You just, what they say, it goes. But I personally did not really enjoy them saying that to me because I was like,
Yeah, I agree.
I just don't understand it. But I'll move past that. I already said the church is kind of,
Yeah, not your thing.
I'll get more into that
Okay.
later. I have a point I want to bring it back to. So I think the second question is,
Mm-hmm.
do you think religion is a good foundation to build your family values on or reference to? Like, because it sounds like you still have a connection, want a connection to the
Mm-hmm.
religion in some way, shape, or form. So do you think, like, what do you think you'll bring from that?
What
And
I
how would you want that to look like?
Okay, that's a good question. I think what I would bring from forward into my family and my foundation of my household is that I believe in Jesus first. And I believe in
Mm-hmm.
the things that Jesus taught: love, patience, kind, compassion. Jesus seemed like the type of man that under any circumstance or argument, he could see both sides of the story
Mm-hmm.
or the argument and say, okay, let's find a middle ground where you can be you and you can be you, and we can walk away from this where everyone is happy, or we're at least cordial enough to allow each other to exist in peace without causing strife or turmoil. And that's what I would instill in my family is just love, compassion, understanding. You don't agree with people being trans? Have you met a trans person? Have you talked to a trans person? A lot of times people
People
know
fear
gay
what they don't
people.
know.
Yeah, they fear what they don't know, but they know people in their family and they accept it and be like, oh well, that's just Dante, or that's just
Mm-hmm.
Gerard in the corner. Everyone knows he has his friend. We still love him. We don't accept the sin, but we accept the person. And I hate when people say that because that's not right. I believe family should always be more about love and compassion and care. And listen to your family stories. If my child
Yeah.
came to me, or my family, someone within my family circle came to me and they wanted to express themselves about something they were passionate about, I would sit down and listen to their story. Because that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing we all have in common is we're living a human experience, and it's not exclusive to anyone or make anyone better than the other. So I think I would just take like the love. That's what I would take from the Bible. I would just take the love and compassion that Jesus seemed to have, because Jesus was not Jesus was not some rich man in a mansion living in Jerusalem. Jesus was, sorry, Jesus, I got distracted. Jesus was someone who was out there with the people in the streets and talking to people. He wasn't even preaching, come know my God, come know my Father. Jesus was just out there saying, how can I help you? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
How can we make this better? He was a
Yeah.
peacekeeper. And that's how I want my house to be. I want my household. What I take from the religion is the love that Jesus had, the compassion that Jesus had. Like I said, the Old Testament, that ain't in my house. Sorry. You can hate me all you want to. But it's hard for me to believe that I'm going to teach my kid that Adam and Eve was in a garden. The snake is what they call it. The serpent was possessed by the devil and told
Mm-hmm.
and tricked Eve into eating the apple. But why do the man got the Adam's apple? I think the man lied and
Goodbye.
said,
Goodbye.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Women ain't got no Adam's apple. Why God didn't just curse them with the Adam's apple if they the one that ate first?
We got cursed with periods. That's our thing to bear.
If you believe in that.
Oh, man, first of all, if that's the case, why are men having less and less Adam's apples? I see you have yours, but I will say, for the most part, a lot of men look at their necks. I have not been seeing them recently.
Well, all I'm trying to say is that means I'm 100% man. Natural man.
We're done. The podcast is over.
Shut up. What would you bring? What if you are religious and
Oh,
from your Christian?
yes.
Do you think you would have a family and your foundation would be built
Yeah.
on that?
Yeah. So right now, it does not play a part into my relationship. But if I have a kid, I think it will play a part into it. Even just because we live in Germany, or like if we have a kid in Germany or in America, they both are very Christian states. And
Mm-hmm.
like Germany, they put a lot of emphasis on the Catholic religion, which I don't know too much about, but I think it's kind of similar. They just more hymns and ums and stuff. um,
It's the white version.
and yeah, and I was like, they have that a lot more in schools than we do in America, at least for right now. And
Mm-hmm.
so I will have to talk to them about religion. And I hope that when I do, I can do it in a way where they understand, like, if you really want to believe in God and Jesus, then you can. I think some of what is in the Bible is good to for a child to look up to slash follow
Mm-hmm.
the rules from, kind of like like the not stealing, no killing, and don't covet thy neighbor and all that stuff. I think that those are not bad things, but I think that I will also bring up that, you know, if you don't feel a connection to God, you can reach for other things and kind of find comfort in that, if that makes sense. And I was at first making it a point, because I talked to my husband about this too before, and I was like, well, I get, needing religion to do what I said my parents did, instilling the morals and the fear and stuff like that. So I was like, maybe I would do it. Um, but I was like, but what do you say to a kid to kind of help them understand good and bad? Like, you can
Mm-hmm.
tell them don't be good and don't be bad. And I think God helps kind of look over them, but then that was also the thing that I feared. So I'm like, would I do that to my kid? And so I'm like, should I say the government is looking over you and they're gonna know if you do right and wrong and things like that? So it's like, is instilling fear good? But then I don't know. What is a
Okay.
fearless child like?
Let me ask you a question because I saw something that made me very interested in this topic of like, because people always fear if we remove religion, and that's the whole thing in America right now. If you remove the religion out of, if we don't keep religion in churches and the Bible and the Ten Commandments in the church, then how will people know from right or wrong? And I was like, people assume that humans aren't good by nature, and but that's also part of the
Yeah.
Bible.
Like we just go around and kill people. Like
I know,
what?
but that's not true because there is some common morality that you are born with. Some people are born with less, some people are born with more. But
Hmm.
religion does not encompass all of what morality is. You can remove religion
Exactly.
because think about other religions, Buddhism, people who are born in villages that don't know even know a religion. They might believe in spirits or the earth. They have compasses, they have rules and laws in their own
Because we're
societies
human.
because we're
Yeah. Like
humans and we know something is wrong. If someone walked
it's
up to someone and killed someone, you would be like, "Oh my god, that is bad."
that's wrong. But I think that it goes back to we have that's why we have governments and laws, and even in small little towns where they don't even know God or any other religion, there's a social, I don't want to say hierarchy, that's not right. They have a social agreement about what is good, what is bad, what is right, and what's wrong. And that looks different for everyone. Like, and definitely in smaller tribes, they could think murder is okay, but only for certain things. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how we think here too. In America, it's like, okay, murder is bad, but then the government can murder you if you do bad things, like murder other people,
Yeah.
or if they just kind of think that you should be murdered. But I think you can replace God with the government, but I also don't know if you should have either.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
I want to go back on my answer to my question now because I would keep church. Okay, first of all, I would keep church as the New Testament as part of my teaching for my kids and just my foundation of my family. But I would also incorporate science because
yeah.
I would want my kids to know that certain things can be disproven because we don't understand them. And science is what it is. Science is taking something and experimenting and getting the same results and saying, hey, if I did this 10 times and 9 out of the 10 times I get the same results, then this must be true. Not that it is permanently true, it's just based on my scientific observation that is true.
Hmm.
So if I go outside and I, do some scientific experiment like I I don't know, let me see, if I drop a leaf and a bowling ball at the same time and it hit the ground at the same time or whatever, and then you're like, oh, well, does gravity exist? Because I had someone tell me a few days ago gravity isn't real, and I was like, what? Why isn't gravity not real? You know what he said? He said gravity isn't real. It's just God's faith keeping us on the ground. Our faith in God keeping us on the ground. I was like, so what about people
And you
that
know
don't
what I would have
believe?
said? You want to know what I would have said? I'm
What?
like, pray to God right now and hand me your phone. If you pray hard enough, this phone will not hit the ground.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good example.
I am like, I can't even argue with
I
things
think it's a
like that.
balance. I think both can coexist in a household. In my household, I would have science and I would have religion,
Yeah.
and they could coexist together because one is not mutually exclusive to be right all the time.
Yeah.
For hell, we thought the earth revolved around this. We thought the sun revolved around the earth for thousands of years, and then that
Yeah,
was
until we
proven
figured out
wrong.
other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that I don't know if we'll ever figure it out. Probably not. It's been so long. But I think we'll figure out that the Bible is just a book written by rich and powerful people in the times that wanted a way to keep people in check.
agree. I mean, we'll never know the truth, and we can always say, "Well,
Well,
you'll know before you die." But
no,
honestly,
when I die, I
mhm.
have some questions I want to ask Jesus. Like, did he do it?
Oh my God, you. No, I'm not gonna be like. I'm like, show me the memories. Show me the memories, because I
Right.
know you got
Like
them stored somewhere.
I want there to be like a big screen to answer every single question I've ever had. Like, like those missing children things. Like I want to know all the questions that I've ever had
Mm,
answered. That
that's a
is what I
good
hope
point.
happens after I die. Okay, we're going left now.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
completely off track right now. Let's jump back into the topics.
Going back. Okay. So, yes. I also wanted to add though too
Mm-hmm.
for like religion in my future family, because right now, no, it's not there. But I think that when I have a kid, at the very least, because I mean, Armin is atheist, so he
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like, I'm not go going into any of that stuff. He thinks it's all like fooey. And I would say I lean more towards that, but I also just I know I'm more spiritual. I just
Yeah.
there's something there. I cannot believe in my heart of hearts that we are just here for no reason. There has to be some reason why we are here. Something had to create us, this whole universe. There's a universe out there that we don't even know about. So something created me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's God or I don't think it just happened. I don't think it's a coincidence that things
Mm-hmm.
just came together and created humans and animals and the whole world. So that is my belief. Something is out there, and I pray to that thing.
Okay, so you just pray in general. You don't say no names. You just be like, whatever you is,
Well,
I
in my
pray.
head, I say God, but I say
Oh, okay.
God, Earth, Gia, anything. I'm going Roman, Greek, everything. Anything out there, please listen to me. This is what I want.
And then you die, and guess what? You're gonna be standing there, and they're gonna be all them guys you prayed to, be like, which one else you want? Because you kept praying to all of us. So which one you gonna take?
Oopsie, I didn't know this was an option. But whenever I have a kid, though, in case there is God and the way that the Bible talks about, when I have a kid, I do want to get that child baptized because
Mm,
just in case they die, because SIDS happens a lot, sudden infant death syndrome. Um, the kid could pass away, and in the Christian religion, if that happens, before the baby is baptized, they will go into limbo and they'll never go to heaven or hell. They just get stuck in an in between place. So if I have a baby, I would like them to get baptized just in case there is a
okay.
heaven and I want them to be going there. But I will not get that done here in Germany because if you get baptized in Germany, you have to be a part of the church for the next 18 years slash the rest of your life. So you kind of get put into a thing where
A
they're like, okay,
cult.
your name is under the church, cult. You said it, not me. But yeah, your name gets put under the church, and when they turn 18, they have to start paying church taxes,
Yeah,
which I think is
ain't
weird.
no, fuck that. I'm gonna go ahead and say that.
So,
Fuck
so I
that.
was like, I'll go to America with my kid, and then we'll get him baptized there. So then there's no paper trail for
You
that
know,
because
mm-mm.
that's too much.
You know you would set me off saying paying church taxes because you know I ain't doing that. Ain't no. I
Yeah,
barely don't even want to pay my government taxes. Think I'm gonna pay the church? Bye.
right. Or means like on my 18th birthday, I walked out to that church, said, "Take me off the list," and I was like, "Yeah, I would have done the same because I'm
What
not
happened
paying
if you
that."
don't pay your taxes?
Oh, they gonna take it from you.
What the fuck? What you mean?
Just like in America, if you don't pay your tax, they garnish it from your wages, your W-2s every year, the IRS.
The church?
Well, I don't know if they going that
Oh,
deep, but they're gonna
okay.
get their money. The government does have your information here, so I'm sure they can charge you.
Yeah, you tax me. I'm gonna burn that
We,
church down.
let me put in another weird thing in Germany. You have to pay this like TV broadcasting charge every single month, even if you do not have cable. Like you have to pay for this cable broadcasting thing for Germany,
Mm-hmm.
even if you do not have it in your home. We do not have it in our home, and we still have to pay it every single month. That
That's
is
crazy.
ridiculous. Every country
Mm,
loves their money.
this is
But yes,
true.
back to the religion. So yes, I would baptize my kid, and in my relationship now, I've also had we also had a pastor at our wedding, but
Okay.
our mean like that was for my mom more than even me. She was like, I really want you to get married the right way. So we got like a Catholic pastor to come and officiate the wedding. He's a great man. And we sat down and talked to him, and our mean was like, I would prefer if you do not mention God in your sermon. And in my vows, I will not be like promising to God. I will be promising to you because you are my
Mm-hmm.
wife. You're the person that I am devoting my life to. So all his vows were to me and not
That's
to God.
fair.
Because, yeah, it's like, some wedding vows are like, I promise before God to love you and take care of you. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm
Yeah.
promising to you, my wife, that I will be faithful and do all the things.
I like that though, because that like most people would take offense to that, but like it is not about God in that moment. It's kind of about you two
No.
making a commitment to each other. And people want to say, "Well,
Hmm.
under God and God will watch over us," but I get the perspective of being like it's me and you against the world, and
Exactly.
God might not intervene in certain circumstances. So you're my rock, and I'm gonna commit and say that I'm committed to you. I can respect that and understand it from that perspective. And even I thought about when I get married, like because
Hmm.
at some point I will. I was thinking, and I was talking to my brothers and them, and I was just like, yo, if I get married, I don't know if I want it to be in a church because I know what the
Yeah.
church stance is in America. There are some churches that are open into, there are these accepting churches
Hmm.
of LGBT and, gay people getting married. But I don't like, I never understood the whole thing where like the groom walks down the middle of the aisle. This is what my perspective of what a wedding should be. The
Hmm.
people are sitting in the sides on their respective areas, your family here, their family there. But in my mind, I would assume for me, because this is about me and my view, is that me and
Hmm.
my significant other, he would walk and I would walk on opposite sides of the aisle, not down the middle, but on the opposite sides at the same time. And we meet at the front
In the
part
middle.
in the middle. And then when we leave, we exit together because that's just a representation of our life. We walk separate paths. We found each other and now we're leaving. And then everyone else would proceed to follow us behind us because it's a unification of our families. Some people might not like each other. That's on them. But,
Hmm.
like it's just a unification of two people joining together, walking down and into the world as a unit.
Exactly.
And that's kind of
Yeah.
what I wanted. I never understood the whole like what a woman gets to walk down the aisle by herself, by her father. He's giving her away. That's an old mentality that people don't get because women didn't have rights. They were property to men,
Hmm.
and it's crazy that
Yeah.
that that still exists to this day. And I get it, the mentality behind it. Oh, I'm giving away my little girl, but you're almost acting like she's property. You know what it stood for
Yeah.
back
I
then,
think
and you still want to do that.
yeah, it's
Mm,
just like old customs and they die hard. And I will never know because my dad is dead now. But I do think that it really hurt his feelings that that Armin did not ask him his permission to marry me. But Armin didn't even ask my mom. She might be hurt too, but
you
guess
know,
what? It's my decision.
the
And I
Bible
think he's
literally
a little
says, mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, it's like you go away from your parents, but I know some parents are a little, and I think he's a little hurt that I didn't have him walk me down the aisle and I had my mom walk me down the aisle. I know that probably hurt a little bit.
And I will say though, like if you think about it, if you truly have been with someone for a while and your parents have already met them and they know your relationship, they shouldn't have to ask you because you should have seen through the walk. Should have seen through the interactions, through the love that they share for each other, whether
Yeah.
this is the person for you. And plus, on top of that, if their parents in my scenario, I'm gay. If their parents is completely Christian and against it, why would I go out my way to ask your mom if I know your mom is gonna not be okay with it? And plus, this
Right.
is my life. You're my significant
You're
other.
an adult. Like, as long as you're two consenting adults, what you want is what is important. And I think involving your family too much in the process, I mean, I get that it's your family, but you guys are coming together to become a family. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that is what is the most important part. Like, even if people are, I mean, I think you should heed warnings if people are like, ooh,
Yeah,
don't do this, take it into consideration. But at the end of the day, it's going to be you two in this. You two at the end of every single night, you two every single morning, you going through thick and thin, hard times, good times, all of that. So it's your dedication to each other that matters, not the whole family aspect of it, not anything else. It's two
agree.
people.
Agree
That's
completely.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, those people will either pass away, go on about their lives. They're not with you every day, every second. The decisions you make, where you live, how you raise your kids. I mean, some cultures are like that, where the families are intertwined that deep. But I'm speaking from
Hmm.
my upbringing and what I experienced, so
Yeah.
it's a little bit different. But that brings us to the final topic about like, do you does religion play a part in your relationship? Like, do y'all
Yeah.
pray together? Do y'all no?
Yeah.
Which is
Just no.
okay. Just no.
I think that yeah, the pastor thing and the possible baptism, that's the
Yeah.
extent of our uh, religious relationship.
I will say for me, it is complicated because I have a complicated history with the church. And I'll tell you this, I was just at church last. My mom and dad invited me to family and friends Sunday, and I wasn't
Hmm.
going to go, but I went anyway because I just wanted to be there. And it was a bag of mixed emotions because I've talked about my past with the church, and I'm not going to do that now. But I will say that sitting in that church and listening to the pastor preach, I wasn't dismissive of his words. I wasn't like ignoring anything. Like, I don't
Yeah.
care what he's saying. I was listening and absorbing the information he was saying. But like I've always done, I take in the information, I review it in my mind, and if it's something that fits well with what I'm walking, I'll agree with it. My significant other, very religious, into read the Bible daily or read like a scripture, some type of Christian related book and pray every
Mm-hmm.
day. And sometimes he'll come to me and he'll be like, "Did you even pray today?" And I'll tell you this right now. I've never seen my dad pray outside of dinner time or events where someone has to pray and they ask my dad to pray.
Yeah. Like Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
Christmas.
because I was raised differently. My dad always was like, your walk with God is your walk with God.
Mm-hmm.
When you die, you stand before God as just you, not, oh, you were married to this person, so their sins fall on you. It was like, no, you have to walk, you have to talk, you have to speak to God. If you pray walking, if you pray and don't say a word, your mouth don't move, if you just do it all internally with your mind, that's your prerogative. That's up to you.
Yeah.
So we are at a difference sometimes where it's just like, well, you don't pray, or I don't see you praying. And I'm just kind of like, I do pray. It's just, I
Ah.
don't need to do it where people can hear me.
You know what's so weird about that? It's like this is gonna sound so weird. It's gonna kind of age me a little bit. But I don't know. You probably were too old for this, but there was a show called Lazy Town when I was a little kid.
Oh
Now,
my
this girl, she
God.
was all pink and they did gymnastics and jumping, but whatever. So, one of the guys lives like up in a air balloon for some reason, and every time they wanted to like write him a letter, they would like write him a letter and send it up a tube and it would go to him. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how I imagine God. So, every time I pray, I kind of write it like a letter, like, "Dear God,
Oh,
thank you for giving me for like
that's
waking me
cute.
up, having food, da 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 da. And then this is what I need. Thanks again."
Oh, that's actually cute. I mean, you're a little bit old to be doing that, but that's cute.
Shut up. That was me. That's my way to pray. I
And
just
that's
do it like a
fine.
letter and it makes it nice. But I was gonna ask you, do you guys have any conflict in your relationship about religion because you are gay? Like, I feel like that would add such a complicated piece.
I will say when we first started talking, and I don't think he'll mind me saying this because I won't go into detail about it. I will say that sometimes a said person would come around and or call him and say, I'm praying for you. I had a dream and I'm just worried for your soul. You're gonna go to hell." And
Mm-hmm.
this would put him back into a state of, I feel guilty. I'm doing something wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Why doesn't God really love me and allow me? And then and I hate to say this, but it's true. I'm so headstrong about
Mm-hmm.
who I am, what I believe. Like, I cannot live my life apologizing to people about what I do
Yeah.
and who I am.
You
So
live your life out loud.
yeah, so this person kept coming back every few months and saying something, and who was there to pick up the pieces? The significant other, me, laying in bed, telling you you're fine. God loves you regardless, no matter what. You need to be strong in who you are. That faith that you have in God, you need to have that faith in your relationship with God, that God knows your heart and knows your intentions.
Yeah.
So one day, said person came to our house, was sitting in the driveway, waiting for him to come out. And I was not angry. I was just like, I'm going to deal with this because
Mm-hmm.
this is the person I love. This is the person I care about. And you are coming in, and every time this person gets to a stable point, and then people can say, oh, well, it's just guilt inside. No, people in your life that you care about saying certain things to you can reset you to a dark place. They think they're
Mm-hmm.
doing good by quoting these scriptures and saying that you're going to hell, but they don't get that comes from a place of damage and hatred and anger.
Mm-hmm.
So I went outside and I sat in the car and it's like, oh, hey, how you doing? And I said, you know what I said? I said, listen, I know you mean well, but every time you call and you say this, I'm the person laying in bed reassuring this person. I'm the person letting them know And it got to a point where I wanted to step away from the relationship because I was just kind of like, I need you to know who you are. And if
Yeah. It's
someone could
like,
come in and shatter your world or set you back, then that's setting me back.
and it's, and even though they are doing it out of love, they're making you hate yourself and telling you in a way, even if they're not
Yeah,
saying those words, that I kind of hate you because of who you are and what you
yeah,
do, which again, that just never sat right with me. And that's kind of why I have a big problem with religion. Like, and I've ever since, and I remember around like 13 years old, I was like, like I have friends who are kind of experimenting and might be gay. And, I would watch TV shows and there would be a gay person, there would be a whole thing with my parents. And I was just like, it just doesn't feel right to like hate on them and things like that. And that conflict it just creates so much turmoil, I think.
hmm
And I was going to ask you, I was like, with my mom, I see she's struggling now, like in especially in the beginning of her relationship, because she's lesbian. So in the beginning of her relationship with the woman, they were struggling so much because they were both two strong Christians. Like that was a very big part of their lives before they got together, and they never thought that they would fall in love with each other.
hmm
And even now, what, 7 years later, they're still struggling, and like they want to find acceptance in the thing that brought them so much comfort before
yeah,
they started this relationship. And they've gone to different churches around our city, um, and they just all a lot of the churches preach hate. Like there's very few churches that are okay with gay people, and there's some churches that say they're okay with gay people, and then next
yeah.
Sunday they start preaching a sermon saying this is wrong, you're going to hell. And they're like, whoa, what the hell, I thought you said this was a
Yeah.
safe space. This is not safe. I do not feel
hmm
safe. I feel attacked. So I was like, do you have, I don't know if you actively, outside of your parents' church, do you guys try to go to church at all? Or you just kind of like, we'll do our own version of religion?
When I first moved here, we sat down and we had a conversation and was like, yeah, let's try to go to some churches. Let's try to find a church. And we went to a few. I think we went to one or two churches, and they were good churches. They were nice. They were accepting. Some of them had like rainbow flags and stuff, and some
Hmm.
of them like offered coffee. They just didn't talk on homosexuality. Um, but no, I don't know. We just none of them stuck with me because a lot of them weren't like the the gospel churches that I went to with
I
the big
get it.
choirs. Like, I can't go to these like Catholic, like boring churches and they're out
No,
in
I
like 20
cannot.
minutes. I'm like, no, I need to hear, I need to feel the spirit. Like, I can't, I can't just like sit there and be like, oh yeah, I
It
hear you.
is such a difference. And I think we've talked about the difference on the churches, but it's like, can you even find a church that is like Black gospel church and is okay with being gay? Because so many Black people are very what is it called?
Homophobic?
Yes.
That's
Thank
the
you.
word. That's the
I was gonna
word.
say homosexual. That's not the word. I was like, so many Black people are homophobic that I could not. It probably does exist, but from my
Okay.
experience in church, I cannot imagine a Black church that's okay with that.
I'm only going to say this because it's probably important for the sake of just getting one point across and make it really short. The reason why I am so strong, like I do identify as Christian, but I also know
Hmm.
that I'm gay. And the reason why I'm so
Hmm.
strong and adamant about who I am and confident in who I am, and a lot of people ask me, is because I know before I came out to anybody, I had to battle with myself. And people don't understand that because homosexuality back in the 90s and early 2000s was such a still a thing that you don't
Taboo.
come back taboo and something that you do that I had when I realized I was attracted to men, I had to battle and I've already battled with myself on this. And I got to a point of almost suicide.
Yeah.
And then when I got that low, me knowing that suicide is a sin and not right, I was like, you know what? I just need to be me. I can't care about what other people think, what other people say. And I literally I lie to you not. I was walking in a field and I was crying and I was like, God, if you don't want me to be gay, just take it away right now. And I remember standing, I was crying and I turned around and I was walking back home and I said, you know what? I said, I'll see you when I die. People might not, controversial, whatever. I said I'll talk to you in person, whatever spiritual form or whatever, when I die. And if my
Hmm.
story of me finding a man and falling in love and being committed to him is not good enough and you want to send me to hell, then fine. So be it. If I have to burn in eternity because of love, then I'm not sure that you truly love me. Because if you
Exactly.
could look at me and see that I've been with this person for 20 years, never cheated, more committed and loving than a straight relationship, and you want to burn and send me to hell because of that, I don't think that's Jesus.
Exactly.
God might have a problem, but I think Jesus will be like, I'm gonna take this one. I people can hate me for it. You know where I live. Come find me. I got
Yeah.
you. But
Actually, don't. But
don't. But either way, I'm just saying, like, I
that's the only
can,
person that needs to judge you if he exists.
yeah,
It's
like
like,
I'm
why do
just,
other people take upon themselves to judge you now when that's God's job? Why are you trying to do his job?
and I don't care, and I just could not care anymore because I was just like, I almost killed myself because I cared more about what other people were saying than what God naturally made me born as. Oh, well, God give
Hmm.
you struggles so you can deal with them. And I'm like, well, guess what? I'm going to live in this struggle every day. But I'm not struggling because I'm happy.
Exactly. And enjoy it.
Yeah. So, it is what it is. I am going to always believe in Jesus Christ, but I'm also going to believe in my right to love the person that loves me back.
Yeah.
So all you hetero people in your marriages with your man cheating and slipping and doing it on the side, congratulations. You
Having
settled.
porn addictions.
You settled and you not happy, but you think you can get into heaven. And when
Ooh,
I walk through those pearly white gates and you standing there looking back, I'm a what? Everything okay?
yeah.
Okay. But anyway, I'm not gonna rant because I was getting angry for a second. But
You're about to go in the
anyway,
gospel thing.
but I'm happy with where I am in my life, and I often look back, and sometimes I'll be like, if you look back at your younger self, would she be
Hmm.
happy with where you are right now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
think
that's how
so.
I feel. I think the younger Sherman would look back at me and say, I was so worried that I wouldn't find love, that I would struggle, that I would hate
Right.
myself, that I would probably be dead before 25. But what I
Same
did
here.
was embrace who I was, believe in myself and my connection with God. And everybody else is to the wayside if you don't like it.
Hmm.
You deal with God when you die. I deal with God when I die. That's the only thing that matters to me.
Yeah. Preach. I'm like, my younger self, she would be like, you don't have any babies? You're 26. What you doing wrong? And I'd be like, girl, this is for the best.
I need more time.
But other than that, she'd be like, oh my God, you got married. That's so great.
Yeah, I'm
But
happy
she
for
would,
y'all. But
me too.
this was a good topic. We'll have to do more
Hmm.
family values. I think we can find other things to talk about. No, and I want to just be clear. I do identify as a Christian, nor do I tarnish or make people feel bad for being a Christian. I think that's something you should be proud of. But I also think you should be
Hmm.
proud of being gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever you
An
want to fall under
ally.
the yeah, and even an ally. Like you need to find yourself first, and that's one thing I will always tell people. Find out who you are before you start letting voices in your head. And then
Unless you're
if those voices don't
schizophrenic.
agree with you, tell them kick rocks. They don't deserve to be in your life. You are a prize. You are favored amongst God or whatever religion you believe in. And if people can't walk beside you, then let them walk behind you.
Yeah. I think that's a good note to end it on.
Yes, let's end it on that note because I'm getting angry. So, thank you guys for listening. Family values is what you make it. There's no wrong way to build your foundation for your family. Just
Yep.
do what you want and what you feel is good for you and your family.
Hmm. Yep. And make sure that the two building blocks that start this family, you and your spouse, make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you are stable and you have love for each other and there's no outside expectations or influences. You got to be 110% about one another. and you will
Agreed.
have a good foundation.
Agreed. Well, we want to thank you guys for listening for our short podcast. We will be more consistent. No more fingers getting chopped.
Hopefully
Hopefully.
not. I was going
Hopefully.
to do a leg next time.
Oh my God. But thank you guys for listening and, peace, love, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.